When you're new to watercolors, it can be quite overwhelming. There's so many different types of paint around. And is there even really a difference? Short answer, yes. Hi, my name is Gwen. I am an artist, and in this video I will make the same painting twice, first with my cheapest and then with my most expensive watercolors, so that you can see the difference for yourself. I'm gonna be honest with you. I actually planned to do a watercolor tutorial kind of paint with me type video. And I thought I will do it with cheap materials so that people can follow along and you don't need really the expensive stuff and everything like that. But I was like, I don't feel good enough about this to put it on the internet just like this, like a tutorial or like a paint with me, because I don't feel like it represents what I can do. And apparently what I can do is, for at least some part, or maybe a large part, dependent on the materials that I have access to. So yeah, that's the truth. So I thought I would make the same painting again, but then with my expensive watercolors. I use Winsor & Newton professional grade watercolors. I will link them somewhere. But the difference is just, I'll show you the paintings and you can decide for yourself what you think of it. But yeah, just wanted to make it clear from the beginning that it wasn't really my intention to make this kind of video, but it's just what happened. Okay. We're starting off with the cheap paints. These paints are only €2, which is insanely cheap, honestly. I think my mom got them at a store called Action that we have here in France. I know it's in the Netherlands as well, but it's probably similar to like a dollar store kind of paints. So yeah, one of the first things that I noticed that was that it got quite blotchy immediately. It was pretty hard to get a nice smooth area. So that was one of the first things. And then it's also what I noticed was that the green, especially the dark green, was not really a nice hue. I didn't like it. It looked very, very fake. It's of course because it is fake, but it just didn't look like what something in nature would look like to me. So I mostly used the light green mixed with black or a little bit of brown to get the greens for the mountains. But I think that's what made a lot of my greens look kind of grayish. I had quite a hard time making the houses, like the village, stand out. Also because the yellow and the orange weren't that bright, so it was a little bit hard to make it really pop. Which is to be expected, honestly, and maybe you could get it a little bit brighter if you would just use a lot, like a very thick layer of paint. But I didn't really try that. So same goes for the little green bush on the left there. It was kind of hard to make it pop because the colors weren't that bright. But honestly, it's not that bad. I'm always quite critical of my own work. As I already told you, I didn't want to just show you this painting as like a tutorial or paint with me, because I wasn't that happy with it. But it's mostly because didn't really pop because the colors weren't that bright, but overall, it's not bad. Okay, time for the expensive paints. So these are my Winsor & Newton professional watercolors. I just found them on a website for 90 euros. I think I got them for a little bit cheaper. Maybe around 65 for just the 12 pans, half pans. And then I got 2 other little colors there separately. So probably about 75 or 80 euros in total. And right away, it was just a joy to paint. It made me so happy. Honestly, I got a little bit insecure after I did a few paintings with the cheaper paints. I was like, maybe I'm not that good at painting. And then I started with these paints, and I was like, oh, maybe it's just about the materials. Immediately you can see that the green is so much brighter. I didn't use any blacks in the beginning. I think I used black in the end. Maybe a little bit of black. I don't know. For the darkest use, I used a bit of black, I think. But it's mostly just the green and blue. And oh yeah, I'm also using 2 more brushes. So maybe that helps a little bit, especially with the definition in the houses. It was very nice to have these other brushes. For the first one, I didn't use my more expensive brushes because I wanted to do like more affordable materials. But I think these brushes also helped me a lot. It was a lot easier here to do more detail work. Also because the paint is so much smoother. Smoother. That's a hard word to say. Yeah, so it's a lot smoother, so it's just easier to put tiny areas, to like fill tiny areas with it. Yeah. And the colors are just so vibrant. Yeah, it was just a joy. It was just a joy to paint this. That was actually a really important thing for me as well, that I enjoyed painting so much more with these paints, because it's so nice if you can just make like the image that you have in your head, that it looks like that, and if your paints do not work with you, then that's really hard to do, I think. Alright, time to compare. Whoa, oh my god, look at that. The colors are just so much brighter on the right. I mean, I expected it, but this is kind of insane. It's also because of course the pigments are better and there's more pigment in the paint, but it's also because it's harder to layer with the cheaper paints, because there's this gummy texture and it makes that it just smudges a lot and it doesn't really layer that well. Yeah, this is what it looks like. And in comparison, this is the other one. So much more layers and it's still quite smooth. And also I think this light green, I only did 1 layer, but it's still so bright. It's amazing. It's amazing. So yeah, you can make a nice painting, like an okay painting with very cheap watercolors, but it's really not, you cannot compare it with the expensive ones. And I mean, actually it's makes sense, of course, because why would anyone ever spend that much money on materials if it didn't make a difference? So it's a totally different experience and a totally different outcome as well. So I would love to hear your experiences or your thoughts on this, or your comments. just let me know what you think. Thanks so much for being here. If you like this video, then maybe subscribe, put notifications on if you don't want to miss any videos, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye!